Hey guys, it's Tarp. I'm back. Today, I'm going to be talking about Boy Scout camp, specifically the time I got baptized by Mormons there when I was 12. Are there any Boy Scouts watching, by the way? A scout is trustworthy, loyal, put it up, helpful, friendly, courteous. Okay, we got to put it down. But if you're a Boy Scout, comment what summer camp you went to and what they did to you there. I went to Raven Knob and I got Okay, so I was in Boy Scouts for 13 years, literally from age 5 to my senior year of high school. I can show pictures. I have 10-year-old YouTube videos where I would show scout skills.
And don't try this at home, kids, unless you're a scout.
It was fine. I think it was good for me for socializing me because I was an only child, and when I was 5, I was low-key nonverbal. So my parents kept trying to put me in sports and stuff, but I hated all of them, and Boy Scouts was the only thing I was fine with. Not a lot of people know this, but Boy Scouts and Mormons used to be like this. They were locked in until 2019 when Boy Scouts started letting the girls and the gays in, and the Mormons didn't like that because girls are supposed to be in the kitchen and the gays are supposed to be in hell. So they broke up. But yeah, the Mormons controlled more scout troops than any other organization. My troop was chill. There were no Mormons. None of us got violated, to my knowledge. It was a nice little community. However, when you go to Boy Scout camp, there's 20 other troops there, and a lot of them were Mormons. The camp directors at this camp were all Mormons, and it was kind of a Mormon-themed Boy Scout camp, but they didn't really frame it that way before you get there. Low-key, I think they did it for recruiting, because the Mormons recruited Boy Scouts. They tried to recruit me in high school, which I'll do a separate video on that because it's insane. And I was 12 here, so I had no idea what a Mormon was. They never used the word Mormon either. They said they were the Latter-day Saints, which sounds way sicker than the word Mormon. So I thought they were just chill, quirked up Christians. I'm not gonna name drop this camp because the BSA seems like the suing type, but it wasn't Raven Knob. It was a 1-week camp, and the daily schedule was breakfast into troop activities like swimming and Joseph Smith portraiture and stuff. They taught us the Mormon alphabet at one point. It's 38 letters, I still remember. And then after that, you have free time and you can go around finishing merit badges or whatever, but I'm not doing that shit. So I went to these 2 shacks, and the shacks go underground into these dark tunnels, so you could go from one shack to the other completely underground. They had this because the Mormons have tunnels in Utah between some different buildings, which I think is a nice touch. The camp directors were cooking with gas when they built that. But yeah, there were 50 kids in these tunnels, and they had this game where a couple of the counselors were devils, and they have to get everyone out. It was that game Alien in real life. And I remember I'm sitting camping in this dark corner behind a rock, wheezing in the dusty air. You could see the air. There's so much dust in it. And I keep hearing kids scream, echoing through the tunnels, and my heart is pounding because I get I get so competitive with stupid shit like this that doesn't matter. I eventually get up and I start moseying around, and that's the strat, by the way. If you're ever playing one of those Roblox games where they have the killer, and you have to run from the killer, you camp in a hiding spot early game, and then you wait it out, and then you leave, and then you start moving around so you're mobile. And then I see a guy running at me in this red cloak, and I start bolting. I just send it, and this other kid comes around the corner, and he sees what's up, and then he starts running, and then he trips and falls, and he gets out. And then while the other kids are checking on him, I start having an asthma attack, and I don't tell anybody because that's weird and lame. So I just start walking. I'm barely breathing, and I start walking to the stairwell, up the stairs. I start walking to the health center. My chest starts hurting, and I get into the health center, and they have to do that nebulizer on me. But yeah, I won. Those guys are trash. You weren't built for this game. Go play League, bitch. They also had special merit badge classes for merit badges that don't exist. There's these 3 badges you have to get called citizenship in the community, the nation, and the world. But this camp had citizenship in the church, and that's not a thing. But everybody had to do it. It was only 1 hour, but everybody had to do it. Also, they had a Joseph Smith stick pulling stick, and it was just like a sign that said like, yeah, Joseph Smith like stick pulling, and then there was a stick. It was like, anyways, so the baptism, they have church on Sundays here, and a lot of Boy Scout camps do church on Sundays. But this one was at a place they called the Temple, and it was actually a really nice building. The Mormons have really great architecture. They have these like marble or granite castles or something. They look really pretty. I think it's because they're so rich. They have over $200 billion. It's the most money of any religion. And my troop all had to go because our scout leaders were like pretty religious, but the other ones didn't. I guess because there was only like 40 kids there, and they made all of us get baptized except for the ones that were the kids that were already baptized. It was like two of them. They didn't make us, but like they low key did. They showed us a glass of red water, and they told us that that's what would happen if we sinned. Like that's what sinning looks like. And then they poured this clear liquid into it, and the water turned clear. And they said that's baptism. And so they wanted us. They were like, yeah. So do you guys want to get baptized? And so we were like, sure. Like I guess. Like we didn't really care, and we didn't know what it meant. They have us change into these white outfits, and this old white guy takes us to this bathroom with a bunch of ox head statues on the walls, and it leads into this mini pool that you can step into. And he has us get into the pool one by one, and he asks me if I believe in God. And I say yes, because I'm scared of what would happen if I said no. And then he dunks me for like 2 seconds, and he puts his hands on my head, and he says like some Jesus shit. All of us do that, and when we're done, the two kids who are already baptized go in, and they do baptisms on the dead. That's like an actual thing Mormons do. They believe you can't go to heaven unless you get baptized and then choose to be Mormon. And they say the dead people can still make that decision, like they still have free will. The camp doesn't do the baptisms anymore, apparently, but I went back to see the website at the time, like I went to the camp to see if they mention any of the Mormon stuff. And it's like very deceptive. They kind of mention the baptism on it, but they just call it LDS church services. LDS is Latter-day Saints, which is like insane because one, most people don't know what LDS means, so you're just kind of like sneaking in a random acronym in there. And two, a church service is not implying a baptism. It's very different. But it wasn't like traumatic for me or anything. It was just like I was just like, oh, that was a silly thing that old white guy did to me. But it's definitely fucked up. They shouldn't be doing that. At the end of camp, we have like a campfire, and it was like fully Mormon themed. So they started by hoisting that Desiree flag, and we sang like 4 hymns. And then for the campfire skit, one guy starts LARPing as Joseph Smith, and then he reenacts the Mormon origin story. He's like praying around these trees. There's other kids just standing there still, like they're the trees. And then he pretends to see an angel. And one of the camp director's wives had on a white robe and angel wings from like Amazon. And then she talks to him as an angel and forgives him of his sins and then tells him about the gospel. And then once the skit is over, they have a Native American ceremony, the white people. There's this society in Boy Scouts called the OA that like high-ranking Boy Scouts can join if they like meet certain requirements. And they do an OA ceremony at summer camps, which involves putting on Native American outfits and chanting like how they imagine Native Americans would chant. I was looking for a video on it online, and I swear on my life, I found the exact ceremony I was at. Like I was in the crowd. It's really bad. It's like old Disney levels of racism. But I found out later that the Mormons historically like hate Native Americans. They said that originally there were two kinds of people: the white people and then the not white people, which they believed to be descendants of Native Americans. And they said they were filthy and spiritually cursed. But Mormonism went woke, so they're cool with them now. Also, the OA has a conference every year, the OAC, and they rent out a stadium, and there's like pyrotechnics and shit. It's like one of those mega churches, or like an Erica Kirk speech or something like that, or like the Turning Point shit. It's like wild. But yeah, the ceremony ends, and they say 5 people have to stand up and give a testimony before we can have s'mores. And everybody wants s'mores, so I'm immediately like, yeah, like I love the Latter-day Saints and God type shit. But that's how they get you, so just be careful. It was fine as a summer camp, to be honest. Like not as good as a normal summer camp, but we still did like normal Boy Scout stuff. Our troop didn't go back though, because they were like pissed when they found out we got baptized. I also remember the Mormon camp counselors, they kept complaining about tithing and I didn't know what that was. But basically, one of the expectations for Mormons is that you donate 10% of your income to the Mormon church, and that's on top of regular taxes. It's not required, but most Mormons by far do it because you get demoted in the pyramid if you don't, and you can't go to some stuff if you don't. So the camp counselors would like rant about it, and that makes sense because like why am I giving 10% of my income to a church for $200 billion? Also, like just to be clear, this isn't a Mormon hate video. I hear a lot of Mormons like really like it, and it's like good for your mental health to be part of like a tight community and like a religion where you're praying every day and like mindfulness and stuff. And the church does donate money to some charities, but also to Israel. But I'm not saying like, oh, Mormons are terrible people, because like the Mormons that I've met, they're very nice. They're very like friendly and like sociable and kind. They're very chill, and like they're just doing their thing. But the organization itself has like a lot of like problematic rules and history behind it that I do have a problem with. But yeah, if there's like Mormons in the comments, like don't send hate their way. They're just like a guy. Anyways, I hope that was an interesting story. I will make the other Mormon video maybe soonish, if people want, because since it's already like on my mind. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, by the way. I appreciate the support like a lot, like more than you know. I've been making YouTube videos for 10 years. I have like 10-year-old privated videos and some deleted before that. Like I was grinding a lot in like middle school and high school, and this was like my dream. And so now it just feels like all of that like might come true. So I really appreciate it. But yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys next video.